Hey, what's up guys? FPL Transfer Scout Boy here, and we have finally reached the special Game Week 18 lads, where everyone will become complete blankers, and we'll just get big fat zeros. So we may need to try and find some players that are actually playing then, shall we? It's the Game Week 18 Players to Watch. This is the series where I usually just have a browse, have a quick gander at the best performing players in the entire league, and just give my own little chinwag if they could be your next best sexy FPL transfer. But this week, I know a lot of you fellas are going to be activating your free hit button, card, chip, that's the one. Or maybe you're just looking for players that, actually play this week. So let's get straight into it. Just after we talk about the sponsor for today, OneFootball. OneFootball is the all-in-one football app that every football fan will enjoy. It can keep you up to date with all of the latest football news from around the world, where you can also follow all of your favourite players and leagues, just like the Premier League, to see how the tables look in, see how all the teams are doing. As well, use it like I do to help you with FPL. To check out players, see how they've been doing lately, check how they've been doing in different competitions, and just do all of the scouting business like we do here in the Players to Watch, to make sure you make the best ever FPL decisions on all of your players. It's got everything you need. So if you like what you see, you can click on the link at the top of the video description to download for free today. That's OneFootball, free to get right now. With the first player on the watch list today. And no, you know what? The first team, as I assume a lot of you boysies out there will just be free hitting, so we'll be going heavily out for all the teams, so you might just want to look at the teams and see the players from there rather than the players themselves. But then if you're not free hitting, just get whoever one you fancy lads, you do you. With the first team being Arsenal, and more specifically, Arsenal's defence. Yeah, I didn't think I'd be saying that a couple of weeks ago, did I? With Tierney, Holding and Leno being my suggestions here. Yeah, Bacon Boy, what are you doing? Suggesting Arsenal players in FPL. What is happening here? But Tierney, the 18-point Scottish snowman monster, was absolutely on it last week, getting his first Premier League goal and his first double-digit haul with, just the 18 points. What a madman. Then, Rob Holding not holding back his owners from excitement, as he also got the double-digit haul with a 10-pointer last week, and also holding back all of the opposition players to make sure they're getting those clean sheets in. Then the Leno man just got a bit of a save point fetish really, don't he? Always making enough saves to get some extra points, so could very well be one to get. Now, Arsenal are actually one of the teams with one of the best defensive fixtures, and are actually one of the best defences in the world. Okay, maybe not, but they've actually been alright. Good enough for a Fiat, I would say. So with that, I would say at least one is probably a very, very good shout, with Tierney definitely being my number one suggestion, but then you also got Holding for a cheaper defensive option, but then Leno if you don't fancy any of the other fellas between the sticks. And that is my first suggestion done. Lovely stuff, moving on quickly. Bit of a speedy boy one here today, lads, not gonna lie, alright? With next, it is the Arsenal attack. Whoa, it's not just a speedy one, it's an absolutely crazy and wacky one apparently. Where here we have Saka, Laka, but not Shaka on the suggestions. And also Emil Smith-Rowe as a bench option because he's just quite good. And he's only like 4.3 million. How's that happening? But Palace have actually kept, I think, the second least amount of clean sheets all season out of any team, whilst Arsenal have actually been firing in the goals recently. And those ingredients, all put together, sound like the perfect recipe for all of the FPL points. So if you're being teased by a cheap boy midfielder, Saka could be a guy. If you're being tempted by the only out-and-out senior striker they have, Laka could be a geese. Or maybe an out-of-form Aubameyang is just the one that's proper tickling your pickle and the one you want to go for. I probably wouldn't, because what's happened to Aubameyang? Surely he's going to start scoring goals eventually, right? Maybe. I would assume so. But with their form right now, Palace being pretty damn dreadful lately. Yeah, I know they just beat Sheffield United, but it's Sheffield United, alright, it's nothing. I honestly think an Arsenal attacker and defender would be a very, very good option in your free hit team. Where I would personally suggest Tierney in the defence if you can afford it, Holding if you can't, and then Lacazette up top because there's a lot of midfield options you might want to go for. But if you can squeeze a midfielder in, I would probably go Saka instead. And you know what? Lacazette has actually scored 4 goals in his last 3 games. Hey, that's pretty good. When did he do that then? So all of them making Arsenal and all of their players ones to watch and ones to buy for Game Week 18. But maybe, lads, just maybe, you aren't free hitting. And maybe you just want to get in some players that play this week, but also have a double. Where now, that's possible. Woo! where both the Manchester games, both sides of the city, have had their Game Week 1 blank moved into the schedule and ready to go. Meaning Man City and Man United both play in the blank 18, they have a game, but they also have a double in 19. Perfect if you don't want to use any chips, or if you're not using your free hit this week. So maybe you want to get all of their players in, but who do we get? I got you, lads, I got you. Starting with Man City's defence. Now, surprisingly, none of their defenders are actually very high up on the total points tally of FPL points scored this season so far, you know. But just yet, because I think that might change. Because they actually have the best defence in the entire league. Keeping the most clean sheets out of any team, and also conceding the least goals out of anyone as well. Pretty damn impressive, right? Hang on, how have Man City, the team that usually score all of the goals, suddenly got the best defence? Ah. But then, their upcoming fixtures, oh boy. With them playing Brighton in Game Week 18, definitely good enough for a free hit. But then Palace and Villa in 19 as a double. But then playing West Brom, Sheffield United and Burnley, the 3 lower scoring teams, all in a row. Quick, invest, get them now. So the options I suggest to you would be one of the most creative players in the league, Cancelo. One of the most consistent boys in the league, Diaz. Or maybe just the best defender to ever grace the earth, John Newell Stones. John Newell. But I got a feeling, even though they're Man City are an attacking team, I feel like there's not going to be too many attacking returns from them. Maybe an odd header, maybe an odd assist from Cancelo. But I think it would be quite close and quite hard to predict over a short space of time, you know? But I would always suggest to get the fullback if you can, just because they seem to be the more attacking options, right? Especially Cancelo. But I think all of these are definitely good enough options, definitely for a free hit, or maybe even just a transfer later on. But the question is, how nailed are they? And right now, quite a lot, but, you know, Pep, that will very much change, making Man City and all of their defenders players to watch, players to buy this week. This is more of the buy list and not the watch list this week because of the free hit, you know. With next, moving all the way up to the attack, with De Bruyne, Sterling and Aguero joining us here. Alright lads, how's it going? Any news lately? Not much going on? Yeah, me neither. But Man City are slowly starting to get out to second gear and maybe getting into third, and then fourth, and then fifth gear, and I feel like they're going to score all of the goals very much soon again. Where you could have a Kevin De Bruyne, the best player in the league, you know, who also has this new role in the Man City team, playing every single game as the permanent captain, and just on some set pieces and penalties, and just such a good player. Perfect FPL player. Why haven't everyone got him, right? And especially very good for the doubles when they have 2 games in quick successions, right? Wink. But you never know, on a short-term thing, if you're free hitting, Sterling could actually tease you a bit more. Or maybe a 43-year-old Aguero, which I think for the 90th time is just on his last legs, and has a few more performances in him, but maybe not too many. But if you are going to free hit, I don't know about you guys, but I love to risk it for a biscuit and just choose the players I knew I wouldn't want long term, but also I know could get a lot, like an Aguero or Sterling. Because, you know, if you're free hitting, you aren't stuck with them forever, so you can go a bit more risky. But if you're thinking more long term, or just a safer option in the free hit or the double, then it has to be Kevin De Bruyne! But with their fixtures, a City defender, a City attacker, I would say at the minimum, if you really want to do well, they're just that good, aren't they? With next, Man United defenders. We are proper Mr. Worldwide here, travelling everywhere, aren't we? Yeah. With here, I have David De Gea, the Spider-Man Wan-Bissaka, and even Harry Maguire being the best ever defensive options here. Man United have got Burnley in Game Week 18. You know, it sounds like an easy fixture. But then you remember Sean Dyche exists. And he is the type of man, the type of Don that, you know what, would probably just sub himself on just to ruin your clean sheet because that's just who he is. But I think I'm safe in saying that this is probably one of the safest clean sheets on paper. But then again, you remember Man United literally can't defend from corners. And Burnley have Chris Wood. Okay then. But I think one of these guys could be very, very good for the free hit deal. De Gea might not get a lot of saves, and you know, is one of the more expensive keepers, but I think he's still an option, alright? That's about all. So maybe a defender may more suit you, where we have a Wan-Bissaka, probably the most nailed, and potentially sometimes attacking. I mean, he's not very good at it, but at least he tries, right? And then a Harry Maguire with a giant, thick boy slab head ready to get his head on it and score all of those corners, which, you know, he has pretty much yet to do for Man United. So could have a little bit more goal threat than you might think. But then also remember, if you're going to get Maguire in for a longer term, not just for a free hit, he is 1 yellow card away from a suspension. So just be wary of that because You don't want to be getting in a player for a double game week and then he ends up missing one game. But you never know. If Lindelof is still injured, a Bailly could be a decent option. Or maybe a Luke Shaw or Telles if one of them looks like they're definitely going to play. I mean, if Telles looks like he's definitely going to play, then I would definitely choose him. But when Ollie is at the wheel, Luke Shaw, just the best ever left back in the world, isn't he? No, but every Man United fan seems to think so, apparently. But what one out of those is the best one? I don't really know. Can he really tell you that information? But one thing I can tell you is just getting one of them is probably good enough for that clean sheet already secured for game week 18. With that fixture being so good and so sexy, next on the list is their sexy attackers, with the obvious choices in Bruno, Rashford and Martial, and also maybe a Cavani, maybe even a Sancho when they sign them. No, probably not. But even though Burnley aren't quite pushovers, Man United do know how to push, so could score quite a few goals. Where Bruno has actually scored more points than Kane this season. You know, the player that everybody wants to get in. And then Rashford loves slapping in those goals when he fancies as well. And then they have all of the other attacking players ready to join in to score all of the goals too. Scenes when Greenwood scores an hat-trick out of nowhere, like, okay then. But the decision here probably isn't which one do you want. It's probably more of which one do you want next to Bruno. Because if you're going into this and free hitting in game week 18 and you don't choose Bruno, you don't deserve FPL. Just delete your account if you're not going to get Bruno on a free hit. Genuinely, just don't, no. But I do think a Rashford next to him, or maybe a Martial up top if he's going to start, could actually be very beautiful options, ready to attack game week 18, making them, United, and all of the Manchesters, ones to watch, ones to buy, on the buy list for this week. But that there, lads, is pretty much done. But we aren't done yet, are we? No. With one of the other games being Villa vs Spursy. Now this one, I know a lot of fellas out there, a lot of you little boys, have been trying to get Son and Kane in. But let me just remind you, they are playing Villa. You know, the team with one of the best defences in the league so far this season. So maybe a double up isn't quite necessary. I mean, it's not the worst of the decisions, but I think having only one of them on a free hit is definitely good enough. Where I would also personally suggest to get in at least one Villa attacker as well if you were free hitting. In like maybe a Grealish or Watkins, because you never know what could happen. But then we also have the other game, the very exciting game of Sheffield United Newcastle, but then also Wolves-Everton. And I've seen a lot of first drafts not have players like Calvert-Lewin or Neto, some of the best performing players in the league this season. And you know what? Could actually be a very good shout. And I feel like people don't want to get those kind of players on a free hit because it's kind of boring. But I wouldn't be surprised if they were like potentially one of the highest scoring players of the week, really. And then also a lot of people have been focusing on Newcastle defenders or a goalkeeper just to have that very, very much secured clean sheet against Sheffield United. Because, you know, I doubt they can even score in training, they're that bad. Never mind a match. But then they also have Ryan Brewster. Gotta remember that. Scenes when he scores his first goal when everybody free hits Newcastle defenders. That would be pretty funny. That would be pretty, I like it. But there we have it. For all of the quick suggestions, quick look at all of the teams and all the best free hit players you want to be buying this week. So I myself, I've actually not quite decided if I am going to free hit. But if you are, let me sum it all up again and give you my top boy suggestions for this week. Where I would suggest Tierney, Saka and Laka for Arsenal, Cancelo and De Bruyne for Man City, Bruno Wan-Bissaka for Man United, Son, Kane for Spurs, Grealish, Watkins for Villa, as well as a Darlow, a Neto, a Calvert-Lewin spread all around there too. But also players like a Rashford, an Aguero, an Aubameyang and even a Ryan Brewster could be very good options for the Game Week 18 free hit. But if you're not free hitting or using any chips, remember, Manchester players play this week and got a double next week. Get them in. But if you don't know how you want to approach this Game Week 18 and Game Week 19, I do in fact have the best ever strategy guide, chips galore, strategy everything, extravaganza, frick fest, everything going on in a video where I explain all of the different ways you can approach these game weeks and the best ways that will suit your team. But that is all for me today. Thanks for watching and remember,
don't be a cheeky scrub. Subscribe to Nathan Bacon right now. Don't let your memes be dreams.